Well, that was horribly disappointing. I thought it was going to be way cooler than that. I was getting hung up on music, and I said, heck with it. So, no music, because I can't decide what to do. So, anyhow, let's start off with something interesting, shall we? I'm going to make myself small. I hope everyone is having a good weekend. I am feeling like I hate everybody and hate the world, so there's that. Sometimes it happens. I don't know that it's necessarily attached to anything, but it's how I feel currently. I wanted to show you this cool thing. So this is nature. So we have this wasp, and he's hauling this crab spider. And he's hauling it, and he's hauling it, and he's hauling it, right? Now, it does get interesting. So we have water. We say, oh no, what is he going to do? There's water. He gets on the spider and rides the spider like a boat. Or she. I don't want to assume it's gender, but that's pretty wild, right? I mean, spider boat, does whatever a spider boat does. This is Archeo Art. I know I've been here before. I just love this page. I love this picture, even though I've shown it to you a bunch of times probably already. It's a really good picture. One of the things I like about this site is you can go to, let's go to ruins. Posts tagged ruins. Let's make this biggie. I'm going to make myself maybe a little bit bigger. How's that? That's good, right? So we got a castle in the desert, a monastery, an abbey. So this is an interesting page to kind of poke around and look at the different pictures. And then when you find something you like, let's say aqueducts are your thing, right? You say, oh, aqueducts, let's check that out. And lo and behold, you will get posts that are related to aqueducts. Some really nice photography too. I haven't actually looked at this. Oh, that's it though. Very small list. Moving on. So I have this picture in my stuff I find interesting, and I'm like, why do I have this picture? Like Cal Wang, right? What is that, Cal Wang? So it's a place in Germany. I think it's Germany, Austria. Like I think at different points it might have been one or the other. But the thing that got me interested is, why was I interested in this? So I Google it, and look what I come up with. Trade with subterranean people in the Middle Ages. Now we're starting a little bit early with the conspiracies, but I think this is interesting in that the tunnels that you see in this picture are real. They actually exist. So if you were to go to this monastery, which is in Kalwang, by the way, and you went underground, there would be all these different tunnels, some of which are probably blocked in. But it sure seems interesting, right? Okay, so this guy has said that there's a book that proves that prior to 1580, human beings were engaged with trade and business with subterranean beings using a worldwide network of tunnels. Between 1550 and 1590, the Catholic Church, those dastardly bastards, ordered all entrances to caves and tunnels sealed and forbid dealings with the underground people. So the church said no more dealings with underground people. So there's a book called Levels of Heaven and Hell, and I guess you can purchase it. I think it's probably written by this guy. Let's see. Let's take a quick peek, shall we? Okay, this looks really interesting. Consciousness researcher and success coach. I thought about being a success coach, but then I came to the conclusion that I would be more powerful as an anti-success coach. And what I mean by that is I tell you all the things I did, and then you don't do those things, and you'll be fine. So this guy took some pictures from this book, which is evidence of this underground trade that's going on. If you know German, you could probably read it, translate it, whatever. You could probably throw it in Google, right? So the text says there was a mineral prospector. So this is later on, by the name of Arbogast, which is a great name, by the way. He discovered a tunnel at Kelwang. He promptly made contact to a subterranean tribe called Kamen. Soon thereafter, he became a mutually useful business trade with the Kamen, but the church had outlawed business relations with subterranean folk because they were worried about the welfare of the general public. It goes on and on. It'll be in the links. And there's just enough truth in here that sort of ties it together and makes for a moment where you go, were we dealing with subterranean beings back in the day? I don't know. This is kind of neat. This is an art show that happens every year in usually in the desert somewhere. I guess it has to be a desert. A desert would be ideal, I suppose, if you're doing artwork, because it would be dry. You kind of know like what the temperature and the precipitation is going to be because it's fairly constant. Let's look at one of these, shall we? So this is one of the works of art, and oh, that's what I do, I guess. I guess I click, and there's like these little blue spots, and then you walk those little blue spots, and I guess you come across this lady in blue, which is a great color, blue, by the way. I don't think that's a real lady. We've got some other, look at this one. I like it at night. I like the way that looks. It looks like a video game, right? Sort of. So this is a thing. You can see it's been going on since 2017. First one was in Coachella Valley. Let's look at another one. So this is out near Palm Springs. As a young girl, I drove past these things many, 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 many times because it was the only way to get from nowhere to somewhere. Well, this is kind of interesting. Let's check this one out. It's a big old rainbow. Neat. So this place is no doubt inspired by the original, which is local to me. And that is the Storm King Art Center. So the Storm King Art Center is in the Hudson Valley, which is where I live. And there's just art. Plonk. And you walk around and you look at this art. What you would call installation art, right? And some of these pieces have been here since I was a kid. Like I remember, going on a field trip. This particular thing is called Wayfield, Storm King Wayfield, and it's by Maya Lin, who you might recognize as the designer of the Vietnam Wall. Let me adjust my microphone. How's that? That's good. So as you can see, it's very, very beautiful there. It's one of my favorite places. And interestingly enough, they are expanding. And the place that I work for is actually doing the expansion. So that's kind of cool. I'm administrative, so I don't really have a whole lot to do with it. And we have a cat who wants to say hello. Okay. There we go. So this is Spaz, also known as Battlestar Spastica. Say hi. And she's a brat. And she wants treats because she got treats earlier and then she threw them up. So she's like, well, since I threw them up, I need more. And yes, so this is my cat. So this is Storm King. And let's see if I can hold you with one hand, cat. A really, really pretty place. And this is this kind of sums up to me what it looks like in my area in the autumn. It's a very beautiful, beautiful time. So I look at this picture and I think, oh, okay, more about Storm King Art Center that you can go through. But right now I've decided that it's no longer interesting, so we're going to move on. New York releases its collection of historical maps, and these are some of the jewels that we found. So we have some maps, but the one I want to show you is this one. It's a little bit further down. Oh, no, I closed it. Ah. Ta-da, look at that. It's like magic. So if we go here, maybe I can make this even bigger. We have the mines of St. John and St. Barba. Okay. It sounded like she was doing something evil, but she's not. She's just making noise for attention. So this is in the 1500s, and there was a mine that was big enough and important enough and created enough silver that it has its own place on this map. And as you can see, there's a lot of places. So we're not talking about uninhabited areas. This is clearly, there was a lot going on, and probably a lot more than we realize, or than we think about. We think about, back then, and I don't know, I always think of these big empty spaces with nobody in them, but that's not the case at all. So next, this talks about what I was talking about a little bit more, about the mines, which are right here, the mines de Saint Barbe, and this is kind of a cool map to kind of bop through. And then there's a little description thing about the it was known by El Dorado from some, because there were gold mines there as well, not just silver mines. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just silver, but it turns out it's gold too. So it was called El Dorado, but it's not like the El Dorado, which we've talked about many times. And it talks about this guy who was a map maker, and it talks about the mines a little bit. See how quickly my mind loses interest in things? Suddenly I'm like, oh, yawn. Like 20 minutes ago, this was interesting. Lewis and Clark. This is the map of Lewis and Clark. The thing that I find most striking about this particular map is if you go out west, right? Out west where nobody is, these big open spaces. You'll find 600 souls, 1,000 souls, 1,500 souls, 1,800 souls, 1,000 souls. It's a little hard to read. 3,500 souls. See, this is Louisiana. A band of 2,000 souls, but it almost looks like a band of assassins, right? The way that it's written. So the point being is that there were a lot of people doing their thing in that area when we came trekking through. Hey, got any land? Next, we're going to talk about the Noli map of Rome. And the Noli map of Rome is an interactive map whereupon you can enlarge it. It's from the 1700s, but somebody who's like super smart made a thing out of it, so you can like jump around from place to place, or you can do it this way. This is one of the places. This is the Chiesa di San Maria in Vialata. It was a church, which I guess was to be expected given the area and the time. We have a convent, a basilica, another basilica, another basilica. They're cool prints, though, to look at and kind of see. And you could probably find ones online that you could bigify if you find this really interesting. Or you can ask me and I'll find them for you. because it looks like there's probably some neat little details in there. And we're cruising. We're on the last part of this horribly filmed thing that I'm doing right now. The Forgotten Power of the Parlor Palm. So I had a plant that I rescued about 2 years ago. A corn plant, also known as a dracania. It's got like bamboo looking things, and then it grows like these little... So anyway, I rescued it. When I left my last job, I brought it back home with me because it was mine. It was in my office. And it's poisonous to cats, so I had to put it way up, where it was like out of the way, just so the cats wouldn't eat it and kill themselves. But I also wanted to keep it alive, so I didn't want to put it outside on either like on the front balcony that we have, because it just gets all sun all the time and it would kill it. So anyhow, I have a new job now, new office. I brought my plants and I put them in my office, and it got me thinking about the power of plants and how plants can really kind of transform space into something magical. Now, the Victorians were obsessed, especially wealthy women were obsessed with plants and flowers and ferns. And it is said that it's one of the few things that women could like do without being too independent or forward thinking or kind of like ahead of themselves. So a lot of wealthy women kind of did the plant thing because they really liked it. And it said that there was a sexual aspect with it, the fertilization of the plants and the protrusions. And I mean, I don't know, anything sexual if you look at it hard enough. She said hard. You know what I mean. That's right. Yes. So here we have some Victorian women doing their thing. This is a beautiful picture. I believe this is the Vanderbilt Mansion in New York, if I'm not mistaken. That, I don't know. Let me see if I'm right. I want to see if I'm right, because I'm curious. No, I'm wrong. I'm very, very wrong. It's Highclere Castle, which is in somewhere. So this also got me thinking about a movie I'd seen a really long time ago, where a lot of the stuff takes place in like around plants, and that's this movie Gods and Monsters, which I really like. And it also has a young Brendan Fraser as a gardener.
Expect nothing fancy.
Come in, Miss Boone.
I've decided I think I want to watch this movie. I saw it a long time ago, but I didn't really appreciate it. And it's about a friendship between two unlikely people, which is an overworked trope, but it works because it's Brendan Fraser and Ian McKellen. I knew it would come to me. Brazilian researchers find terrifying plastic rocks on remote island. What remote island, would you ask? This is the remote island off the coast of Brazil. Very, very far off the coast. It's a turtle sanctuary. And so there's just like one structure on the island, and that's where like the researchers hang out to study the turtles. And when they went to study the turtles for the season, they discovered rocks fused with plastic. And this is being seen more and more and more as we add more plastic to our environment. Now, this particular plastic is probably most likely not specifically from trash, but from fishing nets. As the fishing nets get dragged across the ground, they become part of the seabed, and then through time and wave action, and they come ashore, and you get these plastic rocks, and they're called plastiglomerates because they're made of sedimentary granules and other debris held together by plastic. So if aliens come here long after we're gone and they want to find proof that there were human beings here, I guess they could look at the plastiglomerates and say, wow, these idiots killed themselves, didn't they? So, not a place I particularly would want to go. Next, we're going to talk about this thing. See this thing? That thing. What is that? What is that thing? Well, Elon Musk posted a picture with it because he's so edgy, right? So he posted a picture. And it's a Vajra. And a Vajra is, in Tibetan, it's called a dorje. It is related to the word for diamond and appears to be similar to the thunderbolt weapon carried by the Vedic god Indra and the Olympian Zeus. As a thunderbolt weapon, it destroys both internal and external enemies. Okay. Interesting. If we go down, this is so weird. Caffeine-free Diet Coke. What the fuck? Oh, man. All right, these comments are not as good as usual. Moving on. It is a 5-pronged ritual object extensively employed in Tibetan Buddhist ceremonies. It is a symbol of the Vajrayana school of Buddhism. Now, you might have remembered that from last time or the time before when I talked about terma and this idea that these masters placed knowledge in the future for their people to find, to become enlightened, but only when they were ready to become enlightened. So this is one of those objects. Well, it's from that particular sect of Buddhism. I don't necessarily know that they consider this a terma object. So it's fashioned out of brass and bronze. In ritual use, it's frequently used with a bell. Ding, ding, ding. And these are some of the other worship items. We have a thread cross and a skull cup. Let's look that up real quick. I can do this. Okay, we're not looking that up because I'm not going through that. Now, this is where the conspiracy comes in. So, Stolen History, one of my favorite conspiracy sites, because the people that post on here, they post a lot of stuff that, like, even though it goes into conspiracy land, I have learned so much from this page. So much about history, art, archaeology, ruins, electricity. And even though they're pushing the needle way far in some other direction, there are these little fragments of truth from a narrative that's not really talked about as far as I can tell, for whatever reason. So this is an ancient weapon. Here we have some pictures of them wielding the weapon. This is a traditional image of it. It is believed that it originally looked like this. And that Buddha, yes, that Buddha, the original Buddha, made it so that they went, so that they closed. Why, I'm not sure. I didn't read that deeply. You can feel free to read more deeply. But we have more pictures of using this weapon. It appears in Norse mythology. This particular shape, not necessarily like the Vajra. It appears in Slavic, Irish mythology, China, South American cultures. There's the thunderstone, which is from Africa. So it's a universal kind of thing, this staff, right? We see this appear in movies, right, with Harry Potter and the wand and Gandalf with his staff. So I don't know. Is it humans really genuinely coming across weapons like these, or is it just our universal need to like stick magical, right? Like when you find a really good stick in the woods, like you're in the woods and you find a good stick, you're like, man, that's a good stick, and you have to pick it up and you have to carry it. Why? You don't know. You just have to. So maybe that stems from that sort of need to, I don't know. I'm totally riffing, but it goes on. It's a cool picture. This is, I think this is German, and there's like 600 pages. And this is the particular book where, if you've seen the cat with a rocket on its back and it's running, that's from this particular book, where they tried to use cats as weapons by tying various incendiary devices on them and then sending them in very quickly before the incendiary devices could explode into enemy territory. I'm not making that up, by the way. That's truth. But I suspect it didn't really, I don't know. This is a movie that I discovered, and it's free, so I'm going to include it, and you can watch it. And it's Lady Snowblood, and this is one of the movies that inspired Quentin Tarantino to make the movies that he makes. And after watching little bits and pieces of this, I can see, like, the camera angles. We've got the close-up. Look at the close-up of her face. This is Lady Snowblood. So it's all about how she becomes this warrior and how she goes out for revenge. This is right before she's a child, I think. Where she goes back and she remembers the things that she had to do as a kid to become tougher. And I would show you more, but it gets a little kind of like gory and a little bit, I think, gratuitous, but it's powerful stuff. It's really, really good. The colors, the feel of it, it's really good cinema. Now we're going to go into some art, and we are coming towards the end. Dilapidated mom and pop shops stand alone in the Scottish Highlands, and new paintings by Andrew McIntosh. These are courtesy of the James Freeman Gallery. Thank you, James Freeman Gallery. And what he's done is he's painted sort of like what we would call bodegas in New York. Was that my phone? It was. That's a neat one. It says that my screen time was down 51% last week. Okay, great. There's totally AI on this crap. I already know it. I hope they're getting some good algorithms out of me. Newman Arms. This is neat with the clippings. This one might be my favorite. Neat, right? Some more neat stuff. These are 4 paintings by this guy. The name is on the screen. I believe his last name is Rolling. Mathagis. Just kind of blend it all together. Just go for it. This one is called Spring. This one is called Summer. See where this is going? This one is called Autumn. And this one is called Winter. I believe this is painted in the 70s. Oh, yeah, here. In the 70s. Look, it says right there. So, but even though they're contemporary, they're a nod to the types of paintings that were made in, like, when were those paintings made? I want to say, like, right, kind of like mid-Renaissance, when people started getting excited about what they could do with paint, what they could draw. They would paint, like, these little sort of miniature scenes, and it was popular for a short time. I guess you'd call them dioramas, right? Dioramas. Renaissance dioramas. So this is Spring. You can see we have the tulips, other flowers that come up. There's eggs. There's a horse. We've got some, I can't make it bigger. That sucks. We've got some, we're going to do this different. Let's blow it up. Let's do it this way. Yeah, there we go. We've got, this is from a famous medieval, well, kind of early Renaissance book. This is from a famous painting. Now we go into summer. We have the cherries, the globe. This is autumn. We have the grapes coming out, the late fruit, mushrooms. This is also, you might recognize this. And then this is winter. Now if we look at the little details are kind of fun. glass figurine. There's like a hole in the tablecloth. You have a violin. This origami sort of ties each box to the next and helps make it feel continuous, in my opinion. Interesting that it shows China. Out of all the places in the world, that's the place it shows. I wonder if there's a reason for that. See, you have the origami. We have some more details. We have another horse. Fruit. You can almost reach out and grab that little piece of lemon rind, right? I'll bet it's heavenly. There's even a nod to Dutch painting with the reflection in the hanging ball. We have the skull, a reminder of mortality, the husk of a plant, a doll with no clothes. We have some books. And I guess these would all kind of be nods to death. Oh yeah, see, we have a thing by Nietzsche here, so clearly he's talking about death. Kind of neat, right? I really like these. I'm going to have to look up more stuff by this guy because I think he's really cool. Let us put this also in... Oh, it won't let me do it. Forget it. I'll do it later. All right, we are coming to the end. This is the Library of Congress. And these are some old photos that I found that you might find fun to pick through. I found many of these men to look alarming at best. Some of them are very scary looking. Like that guy's very intense. So these are daguerreotypes. I think I'm saying that wrong. I should probably look up how to say that. Let me look up how to say that. I've got popcorn in my keyboard. Daguerreotype. Yeah, I guess I'm saying it right. Okay, the emphasis is on the second syllable. Daguerreotype. That's fun, right? Before we go to the last part, we're going to look at some art. What shall we look at? I found this, and there's all these slideshows. What I recommend to most people, especially people who struggle with like depression and stuff, is that once a day you look at some art. I find that it helps balance the brain and helps you remember that there's beauty in the world and that there's wonder in the world and that things aren't that terrible and that you need to calm the hell down. Or maybe things are that terrible and you need to accept it. One of the two. I can't decide what I want to look at. Modern paintings and photography. J.M.W. Turner. Wow, there's a lot. I didn't realize how many there were. Strokes of Genius. Sculpture Garden. Let's look at the pre-Raphaelites because I love the pre-Raphaelites. I love the use of color. This is Malay. He used a lot of people he knew, family, friends, in his paintings. Dante Gabriel Rossetti. No, I don't want any part of this. This is William Holman Hunt. He painted the famous picture you might have seen where the woman has the long red hair and she's reaching down from her horse and there's a knight who's going like this and like looking up at her. I had that hanging on my barracks wall in the Marine Corps in 1993. So a little cringy, but I like to think I had good taste in art. This is Henry Wallace. I love the purple. But you look at him, right? And the way his hand is hanging, it's like, is he... I don't think he's just sleeping. I think he might be... More by Malay. Alexander Monroe. More by Malay. I think I brought it up before. The woman who posed for this picture caught pneumonia while she was posing for this picture, lying in water day in, day out in the middle of fucking winter. She caught pneumonia, and while that particular pneumonia did not kill her, it weakened her enough to where the next one did. More by Malay. You can feel, my back, right? My back. It's amazing how he captures that expression. Like the body and the I mean, I can draw stick figures that wave. That's what I can do. More by Rossetti. They don't have very palette here, do they? William Morris. Hunt. Also Hunt. Also Rossetti. Ford Madox Brown. Some interesting choices. Oh, this is a beauty. This is by Malay. This is a blind girl, and that's her sister. And she plays for money, and the sister sees the rainbow, and she's describing it. But how do you describe a rainbow to someone who's blind? I'm not quite sure. Ford Madox Brown. That looks like a little bit like the Hudson Valley. This is John Brett. I don't know who that is. Is that Monroe? It is. Rossetti? It is. Juliet Margaret Cameron. This is the woman who was laying in the water. She was a model for a lot of different artists. Rossetti. Rossetti. Rossetti? Nope, Hunt. Burne-Jones. I'm surprised they don't have more of his stuff. Because there he is, Burne-Jones. More Burne-Jones, more Burne-Jones. And then we're back to the beginning. Not the paintings I would have chosen, but beautiful nonetheless. Okay, so we're going to finish off looking at some stuff, but before we do, I'm going to move myself over here, and that's because the music that I've picked out, there's the picture under my face is not a good picture, so I'm covering it up, covering myself up. But the song that we're going to listen to while we look at the last of the pictures is called Brass Hole by Sook and Juk. And this is music for fucktards. So we can tell right away that this is someone who has style and class and panache, right? Let's start it over again. Okay, here we go. Ready and go. Oh no, there we go. Go. Are we going? What happened? Oh, you have to hit the play button. I dig it. Okay, I can make myself small again. These are pictures from Russia. Very old machines for something got squeezed through there. Leather, maybe? Any of you know? These pictures seem like they're from another world, like another planet altogether. Not the same one that I inhabit. Which is why I like looking at stuff like this, because it confronts me with other realities, other points of view, other ways of seeing things, new things that I've never seen before. Concepts, art, music. I love it. I love it all. Uh-oh. All right. Oh, no. Sorry. I'm covering that up. Oh. Crap. All right. Wait. Let me make myself big while I take myself out. So it's Labor Day. Right? Yeah. Labor Day weekend. It's Sunday. I hope everyone has a good and safe holiday. I am probably going to stay home. I'm not really feeling like I want to be in the outside world currently. It's part of my crankiness. I'm going to have to get over that, though, like in the next day or so, because life will require me to go back out there. It's the craziest thing. I'm like an extroverted introvert. Like if I don't get my alone time, I kind of go a little crazy. So there's probably going to be another one of these soon, because I always book too much and then break it down. So look for part 2 soon. Maybe even tomorrow, because I have the day off. Maybe not. I don't know. I'm rambling. This is not my best work, but everybody, bye.